The AK-47 rifle is one of the most famous battle rifles ever designed. Designed in the late 40s, 1947, right at the end of World War II. These guns are rugged, durable, low field maintenance, and just a great battle rifle. Side rail scope mount on an AK-47. Now the AK is traditionally used with the iron sights. It keeps it lightweight and very maneuverable. But studies are now showing in Iraq and Afghanistan that the M4 carbine or the M16 is outperforming the AK in close quarter combat. And one of the main reasons are optics that are going on to these M4 carbines. One of the generals over in Iraq said, my boys go out with red dots and they go up against guys with iron sights and the red dots win. So what we're going to do is go from the basic configuration of the AK-47 to this. An AK-47 with a sight mounted on top. And as you can see, the mount on the side and how to install it. Now, after doing some research on mounts and scopes for the AK-47, I definitely wanted to put something on that would hold at zero as close as possible without really breaking the bank. There are some great mounts out there, a lot better than what I've chosen, but the AR-15 is my primary go-to rifle, and the AK-47 is my backup, and so I just decided to get something that was very durable and sturdy and yet not, like I said, break the bank. Now, one of the features that I really like about my particular AK is that it has this built-in mount. Most of the AKs on the market today have these mounts that are on the side of the receiver. I had looked into putting one and replacing this dust cover. There are mounts out there that even have screw-in mounts here to give it more stability, but this is just a sheet of metal. It's a stamped out sheet of metal, and I really, knowing that there's going to be a lot of vibration in this, I knew that it would not hold the zero like it would if it were mounted to the side of the receiver. So what we did, we looked up, UTG has a very reasonable mount. The 973, this is a third generation AK side mount, has double rails, has the Picatinny on the side for an accessory, and then has a top mount here. Now this one has the 3 screws. There is a quick release mount, and I think it was like $5 more. I picked this up at a gun show for about $20, but to be honest with you, I think I could have gotten it for less online. Of course, then paid shipping, so it probably would have been the same. This was the paper that came with it and the instructions. I did have a box, but I don't have it just handy. So, but just a neat little one-piece aluminum milled mount. I mean, for $25, you can't really beat it. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you. We're going to mount this onto the rifle. First thing you do is you have 3 screws, and you want to remove the screws. This just mounts right on here. Sometimes it's very tight, and so what you want to do is, of course, number one, we always do, is we safety check the weapon, and as you can see, it's unloaded. There are no magazines around anyway. So we take this, and you begin to mount it on to that rail. Now, it'll get to a certain point. As you can see, I've got it started, but you may need to take a mallet of some sort, and I always keep a rawhide mallet around and some wooden dowels. Anytime you're working on your gun, don't use metal against metal. Then you can just tap this until it gets to the right position. It's not very difficult to do. And then you just replace your screws. It's a very simple process. It has some washers also to retain them. I would probably put a little bit of Loctite on there. Now, the one issue that I saw is anytime you want to clean your rifle, or you need to break it down, or you need to get to your sights, you can't see your iron sights with this mount. And that's the one reason why, if I could opt again, I would probably have gotten the quick release. And I may replace it with a quick release a little bit later, because that way you can just take the quick release, pull it off without having to take a set of Allen screws and mount this down. Of course, there is an Allen wrench, and you can tighten this up to the desired tightness. While I wanted a very good quality optic, I always go for quality optics on my guns. I didn't want to to spend too much on something that I was really planning on using for close quarter, and so I wanted a red dot. And Bushmaster had these Leatherwood Hi-Lux, and this is the M30. It's just a red dot, has different settings. I believe it has 8 different settings. I do have a review on this scope on this site itself. So please check, and you can look at the Leatherwood Hi-Lux review that I've done. One thing I'll show you is it fits on the Picatinny rail, but you can also put it on the Weaver rail. You have one recessed to tighten, and then you have one that goes down in the slot. So this gives it a lot of function and a lot of versatility. I marked, as you can see, I marked this to 0 so I'd know when it was off, because I left one of these on just fiddling around, and I just wanted to mark it because sometimes I didn't pay attention to cutting it off. Has windage and elevation, has rubber mounts. These are waterproof, they're shockproof. I believe they've replaced this model just recently with one that has flip-up covers on it that are pretty nice. So that would be something. And they make this is the 30mm, but they also have a 50mm. Now, one thing I did is I put a screen on the front of mine to cut down on glare. Just took some screen. And these covers come right off. And you can actually use it without the covers to reduce the bulk. I like the rubberized covers to protect it, plus it gives it a little more of a tactical look to it. But I'll tell you something about Leatherwood. They've been making scopes for many years, a lot of sniper scopes, and for the military. And in fact, for the review that I did on this particular site, Corbett Leatherwood himself emailed me and thanked me for the generous review. And I guess that review's been on for a number of months. And very nice. In fact, we've been back and forth just talking. He's just a great guy. In fact, hopefully in the near future, they've introduced a new 1x4x tactical scope that you can use for both close quarter and have 4x capability. And hopefully, I'd like to do a review on that in the next coming months. Leatherwood, excellent scope. I actually bought this at opticsplanet.com. I think it was like $79.99 with shipping. So a very reasonable scope that's shockproof, waterproof, and has a name behind it. Mounting this sight is very simple. As you can see, there's a plate here that tightens, and the screws tighten down on the plate. So here we're putting it on the Picatinny rail. You want to make sure that front bar goes into a slot. And then once you do that, you can just hand tighten. Like I said, there are slots to take a screwdriver and give it a little more tightening. I would suggest maybe a little Loctite if you're going to leave it on this mount. This is the removable 242 blue, and so that way it's not a permanent bond, or semi-permanent, that is. Then here the sight is mounted. Then you want to take it, shoot it, and then of course adjust your windage and elevation. The first time I mounted mine onto my AR-15, it was dead on. And I don't know, it just happened to be dead on. It was just incredible. I was very pleased with it. That's very rare. But here we go. We've got the mount on, as you can tell. You know, while I was doing some of the shooting sequence for the Tapco magazines, a lot of people were asking me about this scope and mount. And here it is. Thanks for watching. Please subscribe for more fun gun reviews and sensible survival. God bless America, and long live the Republic.